Welcome back, everyone. Today, my guest is Kevin Bartchlett, CEO of Avo Aero. Kevin, can you please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about Avo Aero?
Yeah, so like you said, my name's Kevin Bartchlett. Avo Aero is a VTOL business, vertical takeoff and landing. My goal is to take you driveway to skyway. The market has a really good space for like the air taxi world. Archer and Joby are definitely filling those spots. And there's some really good ultra lightweight space for like Pivotal and Jetson. And they found a nice niche because of the FAA regulations. But a couple months ago, I said I'm gonna take a swing on this and try to evolve the industry. FAA just came out with a rule change called Mosaic, which allows light sport aircraft to get certified with a little bit easier hurdles, and then it enables sport pilots to actually fly light sport aircraft with a little bit more leeway. So yeah, that's the goal is to build a craft in this light sport aircraft, fit in your driveway, give you some freedom to actually travel in the air.
Got you. What gap are you filling in the aerospace supply chain or manufacturing ecosystem?
Yeah, it's an evolving gap with the industry. This personal vehicle type aircraft that you want to have functionality, you want to have some range to it, you want to have um, parts that make it actually practical, where the ultra lightweight is doing a phenomenal job with where they are, but just the resources aren't quite there, the efficiency is not quite there, and they're limited to stay under that weight limit. So trying to fill the light sport aircraft airspace that brings more functionality and actually allows like somebody to use the aircraft rather than just have it more of a toy in their backyard.
Got you. With forecasts showing large growth in aircraft production and manufacturing demand, what signals are you seeing from your customers right now? Primes, tier ones, OEMs that are most meaningful.
I'm sorry, you're like what am I seeing from potential customers?
From your customers now is primes, tier ones, OEMs that are most meaningful.
Um, we're in develop right now, so I don't have much perspective on my customer base necessarily, but I you can see the industry growing quickly and trying to find like uh, disaster relief is a great situation, or EMS is a great market of it. So they're trying to find where is FAA certification open and what is the most useful way to like let these aircraft actually fly that keeps safety in mind. So it's a lot of trying to find that particular niche and continue to grow it, which is a lot held back by FAA certification. But it's getting there slowly but surely. It's moving along.
Gotcha. In your view, is the current constraint more about capacity, machine size, people, or good capability, processes, certifications, or materials?
Yeah, I definitely think it's certification. The hardware is getting there. Software is there. Software is not the hardest part. Hardware efficiency rates are increased. You see people that say, okay, the EV batteries are obviously more dense and getting more powerful and great performance output, but maybe EVs isn't 100% what's needed. So then you try to find the hybrid systems. Hydrogen fuel cells are growing, but they're not as cost effective yet. But again, the hardware is becoming more functional. I just think it's the regulation that it's a slow, difficult, very human slash regulation like approval to get that constant push, which is why I really love that I decided to start this company in the perfect time with Mosaic coming out, the FAA realizing, okay, we've got to change to some extent and open things up and have a powered lift aircraft category. And the Trump administration also coming out with the drone dominance pushing the Department of Transportation, saying we do need to put some effort into making the U.S. more prominent in the VTOL space. So yeah, I think as the challenges goes, regulations are going to be one of the harder ones.
How is Avo Aero positioning itself differently to capture the ramp up phase of the next gen manufacturing wave?
How are we positioning ourselves for what?
Differently to capture the ramp up phase of the next gen manufacturing wave.
Yeah, what's exciting is I actually came more from a manufacturing background, not too far off of Detroit world in the automotive space, and learned a lot about what it takes to build high volume manufacturing, which is a little rarer for somebody younger. It tends to be an older generation that we see retiring out.
Mhm.
But with that being said, like I think we can suit ourselves well for Avo to say, well, we're going to build and manufacture the things that we're very good at, and we're going to do it at a good efficiency and hopefully high volume. The difference in automotive world to airplanes or aerospace world is just the volume's not at all the same. I mean, 50 units a month is a big number
Mhm.
for aerospace industry, where that's like a prototype run in automotive. So having like some expertise in that manufacturing setting and then some contacts and network there that can help me bring that to Avo and make sure that we're doing things as efficient and cost effective as possible, which is going to be important when you're talking about a light sport aircraft. You don't want to price yourself out of potential customers. Otherwise, it's not going to be very useful. You have to have something that's cost effective that these people can actually afford.
Additive manufacturing is often cited as a key trend. How far along are you integrating AM into your production processes? And what has surprised you about certification yields or cost trade-offs?
Yeah, again, we're babies. We just started in product development, so we're not yet there into production and all the fun worlds that that's going to be. But um, I'm excited to stay at the top end of everything from software and AI into manufacturing to um, you know manufacture what you're good at and not necessarily what's going to bog you down. There's a lot of cost analysis when you get into it. Is like, is this machine what I need to build the thing, or is it more cost effective to hire it out to a different firm? But yeah, a lot of things yet to understand and learn as we grow and step into that place.
Gotcha. Can you share how digital capabilities, digital twin, connected manufacturing, real-time process control are part of your strategy, and where are the biggest return on investment has appeared so far? And where the biggest return on investments so far?
Biggest return on investments digitally. I, right now, again, it's getting started. I hired a marketing firm to help me kind of really identify what we're about. Um, and I think that that's a cost that most people are like, oh, okay, we'll put into marketing and tell the world how awesome we are. But
Mhm.
having the right company that helps you kind of be your partner and identify like this is the brand and this is how important it is for the brand to be recognized in a certain way. I've definitely really enjoyed that relationship we have, and excited, hopefully, in the next coming weeks to kind of roll out more of our landing page and present to the world that this is who we are, this is what we're going to do, and put a little bit more push behind digital.
If you could pick one manufacturing process, special process inspection, machining to automate tomorrow that would yield the greatest return, which would it be and why?
It's again, we're babies, but what I'm excited about or interested in is like trying to bring technology or parts of the manufacturing process that aren't typically in the US and trying to do it well in the US. It's very difficult. There are reasons we don't do it here, but like EDFs or electronic ducted fans is the propulsion system I'm trying to aim for here.
Mm-hmm.
And the motor design and the mo is one thing we could potentially be good at in the US, but we don't necessarily manufacture it because it's complex and um, it's just not something I guess we dive into. But like if we have it in house, then I can adjust the design quickly and prototype out something and put it back on like the test site. There's so many pieces of an aircraft like this or any part of a manufacturing of a product that if you don't own the manufacturing process, I think it's very important to have it very close by, so that you can see and iterate quickly to like solve a problem. I think Elon even says prototyping is easy and anybody can do it, but manufacturing is very hard,
Mm-hmm.
which is why I love that my background's typically in the manufacturing setting is like I saw firsthand that I could prototype something in plastic and put it on a print and have it and test it and like it looks good, it looks great. But once you get it into an injection mold and actually shoot parts over it, and then you realize like all your assumptions were potentially wrong or some were wrong, and now you have to fix them. Well, if you built your tool in China and your only person to maintenance it is the other side of the US, you have to get logistics and then ship it across the US. And like it's an absolute nightmare to just fix one little problem.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have it in house, you ran the parts in house, you see everything across the line to say prototype to production. I see it, I know it, and now I can adjust it. Like those are important pieces to actually keep on top of. Now, it always goes down to what's the right time to do what. Um, but I'm excited to like explore each of those as the company grows.
Got you. Given global supply chain pressure, lead times, tier three sourcing, material constraints, how have you built resilience into your model? Are you doing more vertical integration, dual sourcing, or alternative materials?
Yeah, all of the above will be the goal. The If we can build it in house, I think that's the ultimate solution, but it's going to cost the most, and your return on investment's important. You can't just buy all these machines and expect to have the cash flow to pay for them. The outsource is again, like I said, important, but I again pretty strong to having an outsourced manufacturer that's close by, or at least a really strong relationship that's willing to work with you in certain circumstances, which isn't always the case, especially if you're a small fish. They don't always they kind of put you at the bottom of the barrel and don't really care about answering your calls. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, the supply chain is a constant consideration. Even when I started thinking about this is what I want to build, EVs are great, but you see the supply chain pressure from having rare earth metals. Is maybe a hydrogen system better, or is maybe just a good old gas engine a better system because you can work faster and manufacture most of it in house and you're not reliant on all these other things? Pros and cons across the board. My approach is going to be a hybrid of like efficiency meets supply chain so that we can have a really effective model, a really effective aircraft, but also something that I'm not like completely beholden on customs or something to get the
Mhm.
right part through.
When customers ask a supplier like you to solve lead time on predictability, what's your structural response? How do you work with them to manage that risk?
Yeah, supply chain predictability is a constant tough game. It's a lot of communication at the end of the day. Like, um, if you don't have the foresight to understand what the next month or the next 3 months, the next 2 years may be, then you're always going to be reactive to it. And you have to be the tip of the proactive end of saying, hey, supplier A, B, and C, I don't necessarily have 1,000 parts, but if I call you up tomorrow and I need 1,000 parts, what's your lead time? And
Mm-hmm.
if it's outside the scope, then I'm like, okay, what can we do to make sure that the lead time is within the time frame I need? it just time is like the only resource you can't make more of, and you have to be ahead of an understanding that everyone in your supply chain has some limitation in how fast they can react. Now, if you're buying like a finished good, like if I bought an EDF from a company, then they're buying their resources from somebody else, and where are they sourcing them? And then, like, how far down the line do they have to make sure that they're stocked on their inventory shelf? It's an ebb and flow game of making sure you want to build out as cost effectively as possible, but also as time and critical you can. It's a fun analysis, but it really just boils down to a lot of communication, over communicating, understand where everyone's at, where your suppliers are at, and how you can kind of pivot. That's hence the dual source or maybe triple source on your suppliers, which plays into another game of certification, make sure every source is certified the same way. There's all fun parts of it.
Gotcha. Sustainability is becoming non-negotiable. In what ways is Avo Aero working with new materials, manufacturing footprints, or process waste reduction to align with that?
Yeah, well, in general, having a more EV centered design is the most sustainable that we would lean toward. The Unfortunately, I don't think that the full battery systems are quite as effective as they need to be. So trying to find a generating an on-grid hybrid generator source that you can. I'm really playing around with the idea of powering said generator with hydrogen. Then it becomes a combustion hydrogen, and now you have different problems. And hydrogen comes with its all sorts of issues in its own. But hydrogen's a lot cleaner than the potential traditional fuel. But traditional fuel is also a resource that's at like every airport, and if it's a certain octane, then you could get it anywhere. But yeah, I think center generally in sustainability, we always think keep it in mind. It is important, but I also want to build something that's functional today and then constantly evolve to be better. So that's kind of our mindset.
Okay. What's the single boldest investment or capability you're building in the next 12 to 24 months that you think will set Avo Aero apart?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that I'm setting myself apart. I'm going to be small enough to fit in your one car garage,
Okay.
which is not the case for nearly any of them, anybody in this space. And that comes with its own pros and cons for sure. But at the end of the day, if I can't replace your car, then I'm not building what I'm trying to build. I'm building an airplane, and I don't want to build an airplane. I want to build a car that flies and gets you from A to B, driveway to skyway, put you in a functional, useful vehicle. And I think that's the end vision, right, of what we are, and everything we're going to do is constantly taking that into consideration. Am I building this and is it replacing your car, or am I getting into the aircraft space? Am I playing into traditional airplanes? Another thing other than size is like airplanes, uh, very like a Cessna 172 often has a very old school way of like controlling it just in general or reading out your indicators. It's just super old school. And then
Hmm.
anything new school is you're spending millions of dollars for then top tech. That's not at all the mindset I'd like to put. I'd like to put the newest concepts of technology from the best software we can, the easiest controls that are super user friendly, add as much autonomy as we can, of course, within the realm of safety. Um, but that probably sets us slightly different than some of these guys that they're coming at it as we're an airplane that takes off vertically. So let's have airplane controls. Let's have airplane. readouts, right? This is traditional, so we need to be like this. And I don't want to do that at all. I want to build something that's extremely user friendly, so that a layman can fly this thing. Not You don't necessarily have to be an
Follow.
experienced.
Yeah. If you could give an emerging supplier in aerospace one piece of advice today, what would it be? Process, certification, technology, or business model?
Um, that's good because considering I am an emerging company into the aerospace industry, I think I need to take my own advice. But right now, it's just a lot of education of the industry. I see you hear that the costs are always so high in the aerospace industry across the board, and I have yet to understand the deep root of why. Because again, from the manufacturing world and automotive, like volume comes into play, but some things just don't have to be as expensive as they are. Um, and yeah, just trying to understand the market in its own and like the industry as its own. Like, what can we under, what can we disrupt or do a little bit different that isn't in the traditional mindset? I think I spoke to a pilot about what I'm doing, and she just didn't quite get like I was pushing, oh, we don't have to do it that way. Like we could just take off vertically. We like that's the whole goal. She's like, oh, but you're gonna need to go to an airport. I'm like, no, that I don't have to go to an airport. That's the goal. I want to be
Mhm.
able to take you to a different perspective. So generally the people kind of stick to what is already there, what the industry is, and trying to put my hat on to say, why is it that way, and can we change it? And that's I guess the advice that I'm going to constantly give myself as an emerging aerospace company is challenging why something is the way it is in the aerospace industry, and can we do it a little bit better?
Looking ahead 3 to 5 years, what's the biggest shift you believe will happen in aerospace manufacturing that most companies aren't preparing for yet?
I think additive manufacturing is going to come into play more and more. It's already growing. It's already there, and it's already growing. But we have to reduce costs and be able to build more. Not just the vertical takeoff landing is one side, but airplanes in general, there's always going to be a growing demand. We all want to travel more. We all want to be connected from one city to another. And to be able to do that, we need constantly to push the barrier of entry to be more and more cost effective. And that boils all the way down to the manufacturing side. Is like, can the aircraft be built cheaper, not away from safety, but just built at a more cost-effective way that the airline or operator of said aircraft can now afford it and then push that to the customers. And like, I think in 3 to 5 years, you're gonna constantly have that bringing it back down. I don't think there's going to be anything radically different, but definitely, I think in a decade, we're going to start to see these VTOLs become more prominent, and hopefully, flying from parts of like non-airports, right? Parts of places that people never thought they would, or connecting you from places that you never thought you would be connected. And that's what I think in definitely a long-term way the industry as a whole will get us.
And to wrap this up, how can listeners follow or engage with Avo Aero to see how you're advancing this work?
Yeah, we're getting our online presence set.
Yeah.
avoaero.com is definitely right now the best. We're in a couple weeks we'll be laying out our branded landing pages, and I'll probably follow suit and get our LinkedIn up and get our all of the fun social medias going. I've debated on like posting consistently to one platform of like this is the progress we're doing, put more of a
Is it
younger day in
Is
the
your
life.
website unfinished? I saw on your website it said we're coming in, we're coming back or something.
Yeah, it's just kind of a landing page. We're coming soon. There's not much to it. It's I wanted to start the company, and I'm a little impatient to
Yeah,
wait for all the pieces to come together. So that's why I said I've been working with a marketing company, uh, getting the brand really well established, and then like once it looks presentable and looks nice, I'm going to push it in a lot of different directions. And even like I said, I debated on doing like a day in the life constantly to show the progress of what we are. 'Cause most companies are so hidden of
mhm,
what they actually do. They just present to social media what you want to see. And yeah, I don't know. I'm still in debate for that one because it's so time consuming and I'm not necessarily a content creator, but I recognize the value of it. So we'll stay tuned. I'm sure it will be on our site as soon as some decisions made.
got you. All right. Well, that's wraps up this podcast, and thank you all for watching. This is Kevin Bartchlett. I'm gonna go ahead and end the recording.